Hi, I'm here today with Virgilio Lozano, who is Director of Trading at XDeal USA, and who will be joining us at our Vietnam conference in April. So, Virgilio, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Thomas. Very pleased to be here with you.
I wanted to ask, what is it that you hope to learn at the ASM 25?
Well, first of all, Asia has an undeniable driver's seat in the worldwide steel industry, okay? So something happens in Asia, the needle moves. So what I'm most looking forward to learn is the vision and perspective of my Asian industry colleagues and peers attending the conference. That will be very enriching, um, especially with what the recently announced tariffs in the US. What's going to happen in the region? Will Southeast Asia opt to protect their markets as well? Will suppliers try to make efforts to absorb tariffs as a way to stay competitive? Or will this situation increase intra-commerce among Southeast Asian countries? So what we have to understand, and my hope is to conclude the conference with new thoughts, how all of us attending through our circle of influence can continue making this industry strong and relevant in the years to come. There's a lot of exciting things happening, and that's one of my goals.
Great. And in your markets, what's your biggest concern right now?
Well, most probably the biggest concern in North America is the impact that the recently announced U.S. tariffs are already having in international markets and existing supply chains. So what we have to understand is, even though these new tariffs have been presented as a means to adjust steel and aluminum imports as to protect national security in the US, there's also a new thing added, at least on a communication level, in such cases such as China, Canada, and Mexico, which is demands or specific actions to prevent fentanyl, to prevent immigrant inflow into the US, and also the implementation of stronger military border controls by these countries. So this is already impacting and having an impact and changing the landscape of a conversation within USMCA countries. Okay, and Europe and China are under the same effect, I think. One more important addition is that this new Section 232 tariff proclamations is that there are derivative steel and aluminum products that are being included, HTS codes that were not included in the past. So there will be probably more strategic products such as vehicles, semiconductors, chips, pharmaceuticals, and others that will be interesting to follow. And finally, what will other countries do? Okay, how will they adapt, reshape, and possibly respond with retaliatory tariffs or form new alliances that we don't know, but that this is something that might happen.
And you've covered one of the biggest shocks so far this year. But what other shocks do you expect going forward this year? What should we be looking out for?
Yeah, well, from a steel perspective, okay, there's a potential for reduced world commerce if this goes on with restrictions on both supply and demand. So we're already seeing price increases in the U.S. at a domestic level. The last few weeks, yesterday again, the CRU index showed a significant increase in hot roll and other products as well. So the extent of this trend and the duration are yet to be seen. And there's a question on if does this represent inflation or is this having an impact on end consumers? And there's explanations on both sides and arguments in favor or some not in favor. But that's what might happen in the US. And in Southeast Asia, well, I mean, what might happen is I think there's going to be pressure for lower export prices to stay competitive, or the need to develop new markets to have a destination for exceeding volume, probably. So, and last, steel is not isolated, okay? Everything that happens in geopolitical or economic developments has an impact. So there's the Russia-Ukraine war, there's the Middle East conflict, there's the U.S. and China having talks, and U.S. and Russia, U.S. and Iran. I mean, just to mention some. So that's something that might have an impact. And last, I don't know what you guys think, but it was recently demonstrated that a development or something new in terms of artificial intelligence can have an important economic impact. There was news of this new development in China, and the markets had somehow of a shock, at least for a couple of days. So that's something to observe. It's an accelerated development, and how is the industry gonna take advantage of those technological improvements? It's also interesting.
Gracias, Virgilio. I think there's a lot to discuss, and I hope we will hear a lot more of that at our conference in Vietnam next month. Thank you.
Looking very forward to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.